Hi, this is Peter Woolfolk speaking. Now, first of all, thank you so very much for listening to the podcast. Now, I am very excited to let you know that the podcast is now available on Amazon Alexa. You know the drill. Simply say, Alexa, play Public Relations Review Podcast, and she'll take it from there. And again, thank you for listening. And if you enjoy the program, please become a subscriber. Now, on to the podcast.
Welcome. This is the Public Relations Review Podcast, a program to discuss the many facets of public relations with seasoned professionals, educators, authors, and others. Now, here is your host, Peter Woolfolk.
Welcome to the Public Relations Review Podcast, and to our listeners all across America and around the world. Today, our program will focus on some of the public relations professionals of the future. They are student members of the University of Nebraska at Omaha Public Relations Student Society of America. Now, this PRSSA chapter made history at the 2020 PRSSA Nebraska Paper Anvil Awards by earning, listen, a record 17 awards, including 3 that competed against professional firms. For example, in the professional division, they won 3 awards of excellence. In the student division, they hauled in the Best of Show award. And with their Talking Points project. More on that later. In addition, they collected 11 awards of excellence and some others. Now, joining me from the University of Nebraska at Omaha, my guests today are Karen Weber. She is a lecturer at the School of Communications there, and she oversees the Student Public Relations Society. Kylie Squires, she is the president of the PRSSA chapter there. Sarah Fixmer, she is a December graduate and the former director of the Maverick PR, which is the student PR firm there, and former PRSSA vice president of events. Also, Amaya Solarana, a May graduate and the former vice president of diversity and inclusion and finance, and the Maverick PR account executive. And Okina Tron. She's also a May graduate and the former PRSSA president, and as well as an account executive at the Maverick PR. So, Karen, to kick this off, let's have you give our listeners an overview of what it is you do at the PRSSA chapter and what you do at the Maverick PR firm, and we'll just pick it up from there.
Okay, well, thank you for having me, Peter. When I became the faculty advisor for the University of Nebraska at Omaha PRSSA chapter, it was fairly dormant, inactive, and one of the first things I decided to focus on was service learning, community service, because I truly believe that you learn PR by doing. So from 1999 to 2007, we took on different projects. We helped our local food bank. We helped children's causes. And then in 2007, after I had been to a national PRSSA conference, I heard about student firms, and I thought that's what we need at our university to take it a step further and give students even more responsibility and more professional experience. So I founded MavPR with another professor. We had 5 students and 1 client. The client was actually our dean of our new college, Communication, Fine Arts, and Media. We were formerly in arts and sciences, and then we joined the fine arts, and so our first major tactic was doing an online newsletter to so that the different divisions could get to know each other. And since then we've built it into an award-winning firm. And we've had just a variety of nonprofit clients and small business clients, and The money that we earn, because we do charge fees, it all goes back to professional development so that the students can attend international conferences and regional conferences. And we also use some of the money that we earn to help our service, because Maverick PR is nationally affiliated with PRSSA. And so, as you can see from the young women who are going to talk tonight, they were both leaders in the chapter and also in our firm.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's then also talk about the major award you got, the Best of Show Award, Not Talking Points. One of your students can perhaps give me an overview of what that project is, how you came about developing that particular project, and how you scoped out, let's say, set up, if you will, what it was you're going to do and how you're going to go about it. So who would like to take the lead on that one?
Well, Okina, you were the project director, so do you want to take the lead on that?
So for Not Talking Points, that was a competition that we kind of put the project forth. So we did the 2019 Bateman Case Study competition, and that's how Not Talking Points came about. And Karen did like a really nice job with just gathering students to go about this major campaign that we're doing. And I think one of the greatest things about the campaign was just the students behind it. We're all students of color from the University of Nebraska at Omaha, so we were able to bring really great insight just because this is something that is so personal to us, just because the project was really about diversity and inclusion in the communications and public relations space. And so as upcoming students of color in this professional setting, it definitely hit home for us, and we were trying to think of ways that, really connect us to like people within our community. Maya was also a really great part of this project. We took the project and the brief at hand, and we really created something that was tangible and also something I think was super unique, which was the gamification part of it, where we took just different questions that we've had for professionals and also just things for us to reflect on, and we turned it into a card game, and we gave it to different stakeholders within the Omaha community, and that really brought together not only professionals but also just students at the university that would potentially want to work at these places in Omaha, and really getting their foot in the door and having these conversations. But yeah, Maya, do you have any?
Well, let me ask you a question now. When you said you created the cards, what did the cards do, and what is it that you wanted to get from the people who got those cards? What was expected, and what sort of interaction were you expecting to develop, and did you develop?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the cards, we just had questions. I believe we had about 25 questions that we really made these cards for smaller groups. That's what we envisioned for, just because having these conversations, sometimes when you have conversations with so many people, sometimes it can be overwhelming. So we wanted to make sure that it was like a very intimate, kind of like 5-person group. And basically, they were just questions ranging from like, what are we doing as a company to bring forth people of color, or what are we doing for our personal like workspace to make it so that they feel comfortable in the workspace, kind of just those questions along the line. And we gave it to quite a few different stakeholders, ranging from corporate to agency to nonprofit. And it was really just for them to just take it in an internal workspace and just really ask those hard-hitting questions for themselves. And we also, too, brought it forth to our students as well, just to think about some of those questions if they ever had any for future interviews.
Now, who sat down and thought of the questions to ask, and how did you measure success, one of your group, or did you also measure success of those who took the cards to use them at their own workplaces? Did you measure success there? How did you go about determining how well this activity performed?
Sure. Mai, do you want to take that one? Sorry, I feel like I've been kind of talking a lot.
No, you're totally fine. How we came up with the questions was we first did our secondary and primary research to figure out, from the stakeholders, how companies are implementing diversity and inclusion, if they even are at all. And then from those answers, we were able to kind of create questions for workplaces and classrooms to ask these questions because they are very deep and meaningful, and it needs to be in an appropriate setting. And then how we measured everything, we came up with goals and tactics. We didn't think about including the goals of the companies, organizations, and classrooms that we gave the cards to, but we were able to measure our success by reaching over 60 organizations in the Omaha area, and to us that's a huge win, especially with how small the Omaha community really is and kind of how everyone seems to know each other, and we felt that was a success in itself, reaching that many organizations, and it ranged from really big companies like HDR to small nonprofits in the Omaha area.
Now, did they report back to you their successes or just how it turned out or how it benefited their particular organization? Any percentage of these companies that took the cards?
We didn't really hear back from them. We still, even like a couple months back, another person on the team was still receiving requests for these decks. So we see a need for them continuing to grow. Okay.
Well, what other projects? I mean, you've had, as I said, close to 17 awards. What was one of the other major awards that you guys won down there?
That is a really good question. Kylie, Sarah, I mean, you guys were at the national awards this last year.
Yeah, I was going to say we could either talk about, I was thinking Petapup from the paper Anvils, or we could talk about this year's national awards. Do you have any preference, Peter, or just talk away?
Well, you guys tell me the ones that you enjoyed, the ones that you thought were most effective, how you went about deciding what project to put together, and then how you measured success.
Yes, Kylie, I think you should talk about Petapup, and I think you should talk about Ultra Chic, the social media campaign.
Petapup was actually one of my PR class projects that Karen was the teacher for too, and so as she was talking about doing service learning, she likes to incorporate that with her classes to kind of help students prepare for like whether they're going to be in PRSSA or Maverick PR or just the real world in general, like working with clients. And so my client was a nonprofit here in Omaha called Grief's Journey, and so it's a nonprofit that offers free bereavement support groups for all ages here. And so they reached out and wanted to get more of their target audience just like kind of expanded in a sense to younger college students. Right now their target audience was like families, and that was kind of what they were targeting, but they wanted to get the word out to different college students, and they had a previous relation already with UNO, and so they were one of the clients and what it was. And so our team basically came up with Petapup, as in National Grief Awareness Day was August 30th, or is August 30th. And so we were like, okay, we wanted to tie in, and that's right when back to school started. And we wanted to tie in something to do with the back to school events at school, because we know that like people are going to these, and keep in mind this is pre-COVID as well. This is in 2019. And our big Petapup was like, okay, we partnered with Midland's Pet Therapy dogs here, and so we're like, okay, let's get some therapy dogs here and just kind of make it an awareness event. So nothing super crazy, just having students like already coming by for the back to school events, so to kind of see like, okay, what is happening right now? And so we had dogs as kind of like the catcher, or like the catch your attention. And so we had our group, basically we pitched to the media, so we had 2 different news outlets, TV stations cover us, as well as a magazine, the UNO school newspaper, and I believe another, just like some social media in general. So we got that covered, and basically the results were just talking about what Grief's Journey is, how it is for all ages, how, because and that's another thing with college, is everyone's kind of busy and stressed with other things. And it's like, if you lose someone in your life and it's like maybe, you know, you don't know where to go, and it's like Grief Journey is there for everyone. And so their big idea was like, let's just get the word out to these college students, not necessarily like recruit them, just like, hey, we're here if we need, just kind of the whole, again, the National Grief Awareness Day, August 30th. And so that was that. So from that project, it actually ended up spiraling. So when we pitched it to the client, she ended up loving it. She like wanted to go ahead with it and execute it. So that was in the spring when we pitched it to her. And then we ended up that following August, so just 3-4 months after that, is when PRSSA is what kind of put the whole project together. So we worked with, again, the PRSSA members and Sub Maverick PR, and just to actually execute it. So the planning, the media pitches, like we talked about, partnering with Midlands Pet Therapy, how many dogs are there going to be, where are we going to host this at, and so yeah, that was basically just a big awareness event, and it ended up, like I said, got lots of different media traction, different coverage, different social media outreach as well. And so, yeah, that's basically just the overall Pet-a-Pup, and I thought it was just amazing to see just an idea that we had in a class end up being executed to an event, and a very successful one, too.
Okay, I noticed that you did mention the media pitches. Who handled that? How did you go about putting together what the pitch would be? Who would do it? And, what experience did you gain from doing that?
So I actually was the one that was handling the media coordination, and thanks to Karen and her amazing PR writing and classes, she's the one that kind of helped me with writing the media pitches, as well as just taking her class and getting more of a journalistic style. And so I was the one so Maverick PR has a media list contacts. And so I went through that list and say, okay, we were going through what media outlets are going to be best to see this event and who should we pitch it to. And so once I had the media release and the media advisory written, I had emailed the point of contact from the news station or the outlets, and then, yeah, kind of just went from there. And how I went about it is just, again, we worked together as a team to review it. Also, Karen's great editing skills as well, and just basically pitched like, yeah, this is an on-campus. Yeah, it's on campus at UNO, but anyone can attend. We even had some people walking through the park. They're like, oh, what is this? And and they're like, we're dogs. And so even though it was targeted to the students, we had it in the Elmwood Park, which is a park right outside our school. And so, yeah, we had different bystanders, people walk by, and also to learn about their message and who they were.
Well, that sounds like it went very, very well for you. One of the things that I also wanted to maybe approach is what other sort of outside projects that you as individuals do you do away from the school that's related to your PR curriculum?
Sarah, do you want to talk about some of our clients that we most recently worked for?
That's a good idea.
So as she mentioned, I was the firm director for Maverick PR through summer 2020 and fall 2020, and we lost a lot of clients in the spring because we had a lot of event planning clients, and those did not follow through because of COVID. But fortunately, throughout the summer, we actually picked up some clients, and most of them ended up being like health clients. So we had one consultant who specializes in hormone replacement therapy and Botox, and then we have another one who specializes in hair transplants, and he is the only one who does his specialized method in the Omaha area. But he also does like IV therapies and Botox and that kind of aesthetic medicine. And the one we had to do a complete branding for, so one of our very talented graphic designers on staff just created a brand for her, including logos and colors, and we started social media for her and her website. And then for the other one, DGMD, we did mostly social media, and we did a direct mailer for him, and that work is still ongoing this semester, even though I'm not a part of it. But we also got to do a really fun project for a periodontist?
Yes.
Right? Yeah, a periodontist in Omaha over quarantine made a long list of these cocktails. He became a mixologist over quarantine, and we got to make a quarantine cocktails book for him, and that was a fun project. He had, I think, over 100 of them. So we had a photographer go, socially distant photo shoot to his house, and took some pictures of him making the cocktails, and the overall feeling of it, the design of the book was warm and just a lot of fun to make. Even though business slowed down with COVID, we were fortunate to still pick up clients during COVID, and all of our clientele come from word of mouth. So because of our services to other nonprofits, we kind of gain other clients through those connections. So we are very fortunate and lucky that we still have.
Well, let me ask you now, how do you, maybe as an individual group, how do you, let's say for the cocktail clients there, how do you measure success? You know, the fact that you put together the flyers or maybe some media coverage and on social media, but how do you measure the success of the overall project? Have you guys worked that out? Because it might vary for each individual client, doesn't it?
Yes. A lot of these projects, the measurement is still ongoing. For instance, over the summer and early fall, we were hired by the Nebraska Association for the Human Resources, and we did a series of videos to promote the major of, a human resources major in our College of Business. And, they put that series of videos and they're hoping that it's going to increase recruitment. Now, it's going to take probably 12 months to 18 months before, we can really measure, did it help? The same way with, building clientele, for a brand new business, it takes a while. We have, like when the students write their plans for a client, they always put in an evaluation measurement, and some of that takes a while to do, but it's a very important aspect, that's for sure. The return on investment is important. So there's there is one project that we did that Kylie, about the results, and that's the project for the Ultra Chic Boutique for the Alzheimer's Association. You had some measurable results there. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so the Ultra Chic Boutique is an annual event here in Omaha where that is partnered with our local dry cleaning, Maxi Walker, and they host this event where throughout an entire year, people can donate their lightly or just any dresses, whether that's a formal, homecoming, prom dress, to this dry cleaning company. They will, clean it up for free and everything, and their big event every year is called Ultra Chic Boutique, and that's when the general public or anyone can really just come in, shop for these dresses for only $30, and then at the last hour, they're only $20, and that's amazing because it just, and I forgot to mention, and all the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds go to the Nebraska Alzheimer's Association. And again, it just prom dresses are so expensive, and dresses can get expensive, and having, these dresses probably are only worn once or twice, if that. And so having this opportunity to anyone that, wants a dress and wants to, go to prom, homecoming, or just to have one, young professionals, or, there was even wedding dresses there that you could get for only $30. And so what the Maxi Walker wanted to do is, though that their target audience are younger adults, they wanted to target high schoolers mostly because they pitched it to the media and everything, but they didn't really have a social media presence with that. It was mainly one Facebook page, and they had a bunch of different ages, but they had so PRSSA has volunteered to help out at the actual day of event with social media coverage and live streaming and all that, but they wanted to do something different. So last year they reached out about doing an influencer campaign, and so we actually helped launch their first ever influencer campaign where we're targeting high school age students. And so what we put together is we we gathered our sources, and we figured we did some research on local influencers. When I say influencers, I mean more like younger, like, people that just have large followings and large engagement on the social media platforms. And so we knew, just from PRSSA, people knew some UNO students that had great followings. Like some people had like 5,000 plus followers and got like hundreds and hundreds of likes, and from all ages. Again, college, high school was their main target, or their main platform, or not platform. Oh, I can't think of the word. Demographic. They had like the college, high school demographics, and that's what they were targeting. But again, they didn't have really those people that were following them. So what PRSSA did was we reached out to UNO students. We also had some siblings or friends of friends that had some people in high school that had large followings and great engagement. And so we ended up gathering a group of 6 girls. And so throughout the course of about, I would say, the planning started about like 2 months in. We reached out to Max I. Walker. We got these girls, and we connected them with Max I. Walker, and they had like dress fittings to basically come in and try on these different dresses. And PRSSA offered, a free photo shoot to get different content and media made. We also made a little video, like promo video for Ultra Chic too, because again, that's something I've never had before. And so we had these girls, we took photos of them, and and that was all the planning and kind of getting that together. But in the course of about 4 to 5 weeks, we made a content calendar for them with just kind of like caption ideas. It wasn't like super strict and like you have to post on this day and this time, but more of, okay, we had a contract with them in a sense of, okay, as long as you post like things like 3 to 4 times a week, whether that's throughout different platforms, it was all volunteer, by the way. And so with that, we had them, post on their social media. They got thousands and thousands of engagements. The actual amount of impressions, I believe it was like over 15,000 impressions. And so with that, again, they were post a few times a week, these 6 girls for about 4 or 5 weeks. And we noticed, lots of engagement. What ended up happening was after they calculated all their their proceeds from that event, it was over $4,000 more than previous years. And they also had a line outside the door. They never, line that went all the way around the building, and they've never had that before. And so that was a really amazing feeling, just to be like, you know what, we did this. This was an influencer campaign. This was the first ever, and it was very successful. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it this year just due to COVID, but, they're already in the process of planning for 2022's Ultra Chic Boutique, and so that is definitely something we'd love to help out with again. And just the idea of, an influencer campaign, see so many girls in high school and college, that's the target audience, and no one even knew about it, really. It was mostly, families and, kind of just people that, because of Max I. Walker, who really follows, a dry cleaning company that, our age on Facebook and keeping up to date with all their events and stuff. And so that was definitely a great feeling to have such a great return on the event or the campaign.
Well, let me hear from each one of you once you have graduated, what it is that you would like to do in public relations. Just from each one of you, I just have an interest in what you would like to do.
Why don't you start, Maya? Because you're already working in a great job.
Yeah, so I'm actually working at a PR firm based out of New York right now, and I focus a lot on social impact, whether it be in workforce or racial discrimination, and I also get to do work with nonprofits, entertainment clients, foundations. I kind of get to touch a lot of different subject matters right now in my work, and I think it's been really fun, and it's a really great work environment, even being remote right now. So it makes me even more excited to work and get to the office in person, hopefully soon within the next year.
So what have you learned that you were not expecting when you started working for this firm? What new came up?
Oh, man, it was like a whirlwind, honestly. You think you can be so prepared before you go into the workforce. You can think you know everything, and then I learned so much. I'm still learning, every day. Just even small things like the way that we write press releases and media advisories is just, a little bit different than the way we would write it in school. The fast turnaround time, because in agency life, it's super, super fast. You have to get everything done as soon as possible. and I just continue to learn, and the fact that I get to work with all of these amazing people every day who have had such amazing experiences and helped me grow, it's been unbelievable.
Well, great. Now, who's next?
I can go next.
Okay.
So I'm working as a junior associate at Weber Shandwick in the DC office, and I get to do an array
DC is my hometown, by the way.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm so excited for when the office opens back up and I can just go into the office and just explore DC, just because I love it there. It's so great. The last time I went was about a few years ago, so it will be really nice to go back as an adult working at an agency like Weber. But I get to do an array of things from media relations. My main focus of work is actually in social impact and also the public affairs, which is very suiting just because we have a arm of Weber Shandwick called Palatate, which is like our public affairs focused. And so I get to work on some Palatate accounts as well as just some good old social impact work. Some of the clients I get to work on is like Facebook, USAID Feed the Future. I get to work on some industrial base coalitions focusing on aircraft carriers and warships. So I definitely get to learn a lot of things on the job when it comes to those really unique clients.
Well, let me just throw this in. As I said, I'm from Washington, D.C., and I've got some best experience. I was when you mentioned public affairs, because I worked on Capitol Hill. I was the press secretary for the chairman of the House Education and Labor Committee for about 4 or 5 years. And then I went into the Clinton campaign, where I was his campaign manager for the second one in Delaware. And then I was a communications manager at the inaugural committee. And then I went into the administration, where I was communications director for Assistant Secretary of Education. But I also have a background in radio and TV and satellite and all that sort of stuff. So if you really, in DC, you really have to hit the ground running, because you learn, because things are fast up there and it's active and a lot of people at it. So just thought I would throw that in. Okay, who's next?
Go ahead, Sarah.
I am not out of New York or DC, although I'm very, very proud of those two for chasing their dreams and getting their dream jobs in dream locations. But my dream location was always Des Moines, Iowa, as not as exciting as it sounds as New York or DC, but I work for an association management company, so we manage associations. I get to work on national and international clients, which is really, really cool. But I am on my 3rd week of work, so I don't have my complete workflow done yet. But I do get to work on clients like the Secret Service, the U.S. Secret Service Association, and Stadium Manager Association. So we get to work with stadium managers like NFL stadiums, MLB stadiums, even some Canadian stadiums. So those are some really cool clientele. And on that, I'm working more with membership and community engagement, although I am doing marketing and communications for my security clients. So right now, that's just kind of looking like a lot of graphic creation, social media, and stuff like that. But when I hit the ground running on membership, then, like I said, it'll just be a lot of reaching out to members and kind of gauging their satisfaction with the association, what they want to see from the association, collecting dues, and all of that stuff. So really new at it, but I'm super excited for what's to come in the future.
Well, let me say one of the things probably that I think is important, because I worked for an association myself when I was in D.C. The more you have, the broader the background is that you have, the better off you are. See, because I learned primarily public relations. I was in radio. I started by just learning radio from midnight in the morning. That's the only time they let me in there to train me. So I learned radio there. When I was offered an opportunity to have a TV show. I didn't know anything about television. I had to go ask somebody, should I do this? And then I had to hire somebody to tell me what to do. So the more but I learned all these things. When I was at this association, one of the things I learned how to do, because I was in that office, was how to uplink and downlink satellites. program. So, I mean, you probably don't use that as much now simply because of video conference calls. But those kind of things, so wherever you are, be the best you can be. That's what I want to emphasize. Be the best you can be, because, ladies, I'm telling you, and because I do lecture PR students around the Nashville area where I am now, is that you've got a lot of students who are after the same jobs that perhaps you are after. So that's why you've got to be on your toes and be the best you can be, regardless of where you're working right now, because I'm telling you, some folks are sharp and some of them are not as sharp as they should be. So that is my my advice to you right now. So who has some other things that they'd like to talk about that we just haven't touched on yet?
Well, Kylie, tell them how you're preparing for graduation in May.
Oh yeah, so I'm the only one over here that still have one more semester left, but I do graduate in May, which is exciting. Preparing wise, honestly, I've just been really with COVID. It's been difficult with everything, the job market and everything, and internships and just other opportunities. But I luckily landed. I just recently started a internship out of a product and design innovation firm in San Francisco, which is actually one of my favorite cities. And so that's super exciting. But basically right now I'm doing marketing and communications further as an intern. Like I said, I just started last week, so I can't really go too much depth. What I'm excited about is that they have big clients that they help launch these products for, from like Uber and Google and Samsung. And so that's something I look forward to, is being on these accounts and helping with that. But what I love about just like marketing, communications, PR is that every company needs that. And so it's really cool to have different opportunities to work in different industries. I'm not really sure what my dream industry would be right now. I think it would be cool to work in like travel and tourism, or even just like video production. I'm also really interested in, and I do photography on the side, and kind of just like, digital media and marketing is something I'm very passionate about. I've had the opportunity to work in different industries like, commercial real estate and healthcare and nonprofit. And so right now I'm just kind of seeing where life takes me. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to end up, but I do want to move. That's the one thing I want to move, sometime this fall or winter, or technically next winter. And yeah.
Well, one of the things I'll say is learn as much as you can. Don't be afraid to step up and offer to do something to help out. I'm telling you, the more you learn, because internships you're on stage. People are looking at you to see, are you the person I want to bring into this organization? And standing by, being quiet and nice and polite, that's a nice warm thing to do. But if you think this is something you'd like to do or be involved in, ask them. Let them know, is there any ways that I can get involved in this project, because I would like to do that. I'd like to learn about that. That's the sort of initiative that people are looking for. And I say this simply because when I was working for the Assistant Secretary of Education, one of the things they asked me to do is to bring in interns. I saw a wide range of people. Those who got me interested and made me pay attention to those who did things on their own, who took the initiative to go get things done. Passing your examinations is all well and good, but people want to pay. They're going to pay you to do things. The more that you show willingness to do it, and things that you've done, and the openness you are to receiving and getting the job done, that is really going to set you apart from the others in the group. And that's another one of my 10 cents worth of speeches. So who else is somebody that can contribute?
Well, Peter, one thing that I'd like to add to that is, in my 30 years of teaching journalism and public relations, these 4 young women have really epitomized going above and beyond. All 4 of them had more than one internship. Too many times I see students who just want to skate by. They want to do the bare minimum. At our university, we do require one internship, but they had multiple internships. They took advantage of unpaid fellowships, and they took advantage of different service learning projects and volunteering for different projects. And I think that's going to really bode well for the future of their careers. They're just starting out, but I must say I'm very proud of each one.
Well, that certainly sounds great to me. And as I listen to the things that you've done, quite honestly, I'm impressed by all of you. because you took the initiative, you rolled up your sleeves, you got in there, and you got the job done. That is what people are looking for public relations folks are looking for, because it is a busy job. I mean, there's a lot of things to do. I still learn on the job from time to time, and I've been at it for a long, long time. So, ladies, I want to thank all of you, and Karen, thank you for putting this together for me, and I'd like to say thank you to all of you. As I mentioned, you will be getting a copy of this probably in the next few days that you can use. So I'd like to say once again, thank you to members from the University of Nebraska, Omaha's Public Relations Student Society of America. And I'd like to thank all of my listeners for listening. And please let your friends know about the Public Relations Review. And if you've enjoyed the show, please, we look forward to you receiving your review. Have a great day and listen to the next episode.
This podcast is produced by Communication Strategies, an award-winning public relations and public affairs firm headquartered in Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, this is Peter Woolfolk. First, let me say thank you so much for being a listener. Now, I want to alert you to our shiny new podcast website located at podpage.com. However, you can go directly to the podcast site located at publicrelationsreviewpodcast.com. There, you can contact me through email. You can leave a voice message. You can leave a review. You can read an episode blog and frequently learn about the podcast guests. You might also want to suggest podcast topic ideas or even suggest a guest. You can also let me know if you would like to receive our podcast listener logo that you can post on your social media. So I look forward to hearing from you about our new podcast website. Thank you so much for listening to the Public Relations Review podcast, and have a great day.